Hello, I'm Mick Garris, and welcome to Trailers from Hell. Today's hellish trailer is for George Romero's Martin, another deconstruction of contemporary horror he was so good at.
My name is Martin. I'm 84 years old.
Martin was a really interesting experience. George Romero, with Night of the Living Dead, had deconstructed what modern horror movies were. And with Martin taking on the vampire legend, it was even more striking. Because in the 70s, when this was made, 1977, everything was Christopher Lee and long flowing robes and capes and pointed teeth and the Moors, the Misty Moors and all. And here, he took the vampire legend and put it in the very real and gritty Pittsburgh. And it's not the legendary kind of vampire. This is a guy who's psychologically a mess, who needs blood but doesn't turn into a bat. This is a very city-oriented, real-world story and very believable and realistic, and there's nothing supernatural about it. His uncle in the movie thinks so, as you see here with the cross and the garlic and everything, but it's just a joke to Martin, played by John Amplas. This was 4 movies and 9 years after Night of the Living Dead. There were 3 movies that George Romero had made, and he was not really a name at this point. In fact, they only briefly mention from the director of Night of the Living Dead at the end of this trailer. But he had made There's Always Vanilla, Jack's Wife, and The Crazies, none of which really had any of the impact that Night of the Living Dead did. I saw Martin at a tiny little theater, multiplex in Eaton Centre in Toronto when I was working there, and it was just a little 16mm print of a movie that was shot in 16mm, but it really knocked me out. I mean, it's a very powerful film and something very different. You know, Romero had not established himself as a master of horror movies until much later. And 1 year after this is when he did Dawn of the Dead, which is when he first started making movies that really made money. Martin basically would take his hypodermic needle and sedate the women he would see, and then slice their wrists open and feast on their blood. So it was quite a different approach, and something that kind of predated making vampires contemporary, as Anne Rice did.